Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Jagat Krishna Prabhupada. All glories to our revered speaker for today, His Grace Aradhya Bhagavan Prabhu. And all glories to the assembled Vaishnavi devotees. Devotees, we thank you all for being here, as always. Today, we're very much blessed and privileged to have the presence of His Grace Aradhya Bhagavan Prabhu, who will be speaking to us from the Nectarian Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhuji has been on this platform a couple of times, but it's been a while. So it's been a little bit of a dry desert. But now the wonderful rains of Indra is going to shower us with his association. So Aradhya Bhagavan Prabhu, without further ado, we may put the verse on the screen and then you take it over from me. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for honoring the invitation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So all devotees are able to see me and hear me, right? Some of you can give me a thumbs up.
Yes.
On your reactions. All right. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraya Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavato Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtike. Krishna. So we'll start with reading the Bhagavatam Shloka. Okay. So somebody would like to repeat after me? Okay. Parito Vatsapervatsams.
Parito Vatsams.
Charayan Vyaharad Vibhu.
Charayan Vyaharad Vibhu.
Yamuno Pavani Kujad.
Yamuno Pavani Kujad.
Dvija Shankuli Tangripe.
Dvija Shankuli Tangripe.
Parito Vatsapervatsams.
Parito Vatsapervatsams.
Charayan Vyaharad Vibhu.
Charayan Vyaharad Vibhu.
Yamuno Pavani Kujad.
Yamuno Pavani Kujad.
Dvija Shankuli Tangripe.
Dvija Shankuli Tangripe.
Parito Vatsapervatsams.
Parito Vatsapervatsams.
Charayan Vyaharad Vibhu.
Charayan Vyaharad Vibhu.
Yamuno Pavani Kujad.
Yamuno Pavani Kujad.
Dvija Shankuli Tangripe.
Dvija Shankuli Tangripe.
Hare Krishna. Anybody would like to repeat? Or I can just continue. Okay, I will continue with the synonyms. Paritaha.
Paritaha.
Surrounded by.
Surrounded by.
Vatsapai.
Vatsapai.
Cowherd boys.
Cowherd boys.
Vatsan.
Vatsan.
Calves.
Calves.
Charayan.
Charayan.
Herding, tending.
Herding, tending.
Vyaharat.
Vyaharat.
Enjoyed by traveling.
Enjoyed by traveling.
Vibhuhu.
Vibhu.
Actually, it's better to say Vibhu.
Vibhu.
The Almighty.
The Almighty.
Yamuna.
Yamuna.
The Yamuna River.
The Yamuna River.
Upavane,
Upavane,
gardens on the shore.
gardens on the shore.
Kujat,
Kuja,
vibrated by the voice.
vibrated by the voice.
Dvija,
Dvija,
the twice-born birds.
the twice-born birds.
Shankulita,
Shankulita,
densely situated.
densely situated.
Angripe, in the trees.
Angripe, in the trees.
Translation. In his childhood, the Almighty Lord was surrounded by cowherd boys and cows. And thus he travelled on the shore of the Yamuna river, through gardens densely covered with trees and filled with vibrations of chirping birds. Yeah. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Nanda Maharaj was a landholder for King Kamsa. But because by caste he was a Vaishya, a member of the mercantile and agricultural community, he maintained thousands of cows. It is the duty of the Vaishyas to give protection to the cows just as the Kshatriyas are to give protection to the human beings. Because the Lord was a child, he was put in charge of the calves with his cowherd boyfriends. These cowherd boys were great rishis and yogis in their previous birth, and after many such pious births, they gained the association of the Lord and could play with him on equal terms. Such cowherd boys never cared to know who Krishna was, but they played with him as a most intimate and lovable friends. They were so fond of the Lord that at night they would only think of the next morning, when they would be able to meet the Lord and go together to the forests for cowherding. The forests on the shore of the Yamuna are all beautiful gardens full of trees of mango, jackfruit, apples, guava, oranges, grapes, berries, palm fruit, and so many other plants and fragrant flowers. And because the forest was on the bank of the Yamuna, naturally there were ducks, cranes, and peacocks on the branches of the trees. All these trees and birds and beasts were pious living entities, born in the transcendental abode of Vrindavana, just to give pleasure to the Lord and his eternal associates, the cowherd boys. While playing like a small child with his associates, the Lord killed many demons, including Aghasura, Bakasura, Pralambasura, Gardabhasura, although he appeared at Vrindavan just as a boy. He was actually like the covered flames of a fire. As a small particle of fire can kindle a great fire of fuel, so the Lord killed all these great demons, beginning from his babyhood in the house of Nanda Maharaj. The land of Vrindavan, the Lord's childhood playground, still remains today. And anyone who visits these places enjoys the same transcendental bliss. Although the Lord is not physically visible to our imperfect eyes, Lord Chaitanya recommended this land of the Lord as identical with the Lord and therefore worshipable by the devotees. These instructions is taken up especially by the followers of Lord Chaitanya known as the Gauriya Vaishnavas. And because the land is identical with the Lord, devotees like Uddhava and Vidura visited these places 5,000 years ago in order to have direct contact with the Lord, visible or not is there. Thousands of devotees of the Lord are still wandering in these sacred places of Vrindavan, and all of them are preparing themselves to go back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. Such a beautiful purport, huh? Go back home, back to Godhead. Preparing themselves to go back home, back to Godhead. How many of us are doing that? Almost none, you know. We know about this important question answer series in our Shastras. Like Srimad Bhagavatam is a question answer series, right? ISKCON's one of the most famous book, Perfect Question, Perfect Answer, is a question answer series, right? Yeah. Anyways, let's start with the Mangalascharan prayers. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगण रघुनाथं वितं तं साजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपदा सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च नमयों विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्नाय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतिशे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपीशा गोपिका कान्तो राधाकान्तो नमस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी श्रीराधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नीलाचलनिभ्यासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्रसुभद्राभ्युं जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि श्री गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 रामो राम रामो हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुविनतारिणं श्रीचैतन्यैश्वरं परमानन्दमाधवम् नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने श्रीकृष्णदां सुप्रणीतं नामि भक्ति विचारुपदम् नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमतेन्द्रदुम स्वामीति नामिने Hare Krishna. So how was Radha Ashtami for all of you, especially in Africa? How did you celebrate Radha Ashtami?
It was so beautiful, Prabhuji. We wish every day would be Radhashtami.
Hari Hari.
Yeah.
There is a discussion in which they say that for us, Radha Ashtami is the most important festival. There is a line of thought like that. Not Janmashtami, but Radha Ashtami. Because Gauriya Vaishnavas, we are actually worshippers of Radharani. We don't care about Krishna. Who is Krishna? We don't know who is Krishna. If Krishna tells us to do something, I don't care about you. You may be the supreme personality of Godhead, but you're not Radharani. I serve Radharani alone. Right. So when I was reading this beautiful verse, it's a beautiful verse, huh? It tells us about the Lord and his childhood. This is one of those verses in which you can just close your eyes and you can just kind of completely absorb yourself. No? We talk about what is meditation, right? The yogis do meditation to get God, to get the Lord, right? That is what the yogis do. That's the objective of yoga, to get the Lord, to make your mind blank, completely blank, not to think of anything. But then we know from Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is saying that, "O Krishna, I can control the winds, but I cannot control my mind." It's not possible to make your mind empty. I mean, after years and years of practice, you might be able to make it blank for some time, not a long time, right? You cannot make your mind empty for thousands of years, right? I'm sure, I mean, I don't know statistically what is the longest time any yogi has emptied his mind, but I'm sure it's not over a few minutes. That's why in Gauriya Vaishnavism, our acharyas are saying that we don't need to do that. There are many people who come up to me, especially, I mean, I'm saying this because there are a lot of devotees here who personally attend my congregation program. So they also come up to me and they ask me that, Prabhuji, when I am chanting, my mind is going here and there. Is that right? So then I tell them that it's okay. I mean, at least you're chanting. In fear of the fact that your mind is going here and there, if you stop chanting, that's even worse. So even if it is going here and there, try to bring it back, but please continue to chant. So for them, this is a nice meditation, no? Because what does our mind want? Our mind wants to think of nice thoughts, beautiful thoughts, right? That's all that we want. You agree with me, right, Prabhu? I'm only seeing Sahadev Prabhu. I cannot see anyone else. And I see Madhuvan Prabhu and no one else.
I think Anadi Niranam Prabhu has his video on too. His camera.
I usually prefer having everyone on the screen with all smiling, nice, happy, bright faces. Devotees should be smiling, happy, bright faces, no? That's our preaching, right? Our preaching is not Bhagavad Gita, our preaching is not Ishopanishad. Our preaching is our bright, smiling faces, right? It is the experience of being a devotee. It is the joy that we uh, have experienced. That is what we want to give to others, right? That's the whole idea of preaching, no? That is what we want to give, right? If suppose we are sad and we're like Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If we make a face like that, and then we go to somebody and say, please chant and be happy. We'll say, you be happy first. You are not happy, you are crying, and you are asking me to be happy. Huh? How can I be happy? Right? Things that are very bitter in taste. How much can you go and distribute bitter tasting food? Right? There's this one particular leaf, it's called the neem leaves. People from India would know. Neem, neem. Those who are accustomed to Indian style of eating, you will know neem leaves. They're one of the most bitter tasting plants in the world, but they are very nutritious. Even in Srila Prabhupada's cookings, I mean, all the Bengali cooking books that you will see by Prabhupada disciples, you will find neem leaves recipe. That's the first thing that a Bengali meal starts with. Okay? It's extremely bitter, I tell you. It's really, really bitter. Now imagine if Srila Prabhupada, instead of giving his ISKCON bullets after his classes, he sat with a plate full of neem recipe and he handed out a little bit of neem to everyone and said, "This is nutritious, this is good for your health." Imagine the health of ISKCON then. Huh? So, people are attracted to sweetness. People are attracted to beautiful things, right? Because they always want to enjoy, right? Hurry, ball, hurry, ball. They want to enjoy, right? You don't go to a preaching program and you don't sing Hare Krishna tune, Hare Krishna Mahamantra in the tune of Jai Anilo Premadhana. Do you do that? You don't. Because there's melancholy in that tune. There's a beauty to that tune. Of course. Jai Anilo Premadhana is one of the most beautiful songs, in my opinion. But there's melancholy in it, right? We won't have a first time Hare Krishna program, people coming in to experience Hare Krishna for the first time, and we give them Jai Anilo Premadhana. They're not coming back for sure. Right? They're never coming back. They'll be like, my God, if I had to cry, I'd sit back in my home, watch my TV, right? Have my soda, and I can cry. Why do I need to come to the temple, give up so many things, and then start crying? Doesn't work, right? So the whole idea is to give a beautiful experience. And when can we give people a beautiful experience? When we ourselves have experienced that beauty. Right? You agree? All of you? Now, when we say we have to experience that beauty, what does it mean? Reading these books like Ishopanishad is definitely not a beautiful experience. Reading Nectar of Devotion Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is not a beautiful experience, is it? It's an enlightening experience. It gives us more knowledge, right? It's not exactly a beautiful experience, is it? It isn't, right? It isn't a beautiful experience. So, what is it that will help us give this experience to people? Which experience do we need to have to be able to enjoy the true, experience the true beauty, the true happiness, and then able to give it to other people, connect other souls with that? So, that experience is the bliss of devotional service. Your takeaway from this class today is that we as a devotee have to continuously endeavor to experience and share the bliss of devotional service. Right? And what is the bliss of devotional service? Bliss of devotional service is absorbing ourselves and our thoughts in beautiful descriptions and pastimes of the Lord. Right? See, we can read Bhagavad Gita, right? We can have all 700 shlokas by heart for us. If somebody wants, they can do it. It is achievable. People have done that, right? But that doesn't make them a devotee, does it? Does it make them a devotee? If you have read all 700 shlokas, you have marked them up, including the translations given by Srila Prabhupada, BBT translations. Even if you have marked it up cover to cover, does that make us a devotee? Does it? It doesn't. It only makes us what? Jnani. Right? It only makes us a jnani. Reading and mugging up Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita does not make us a devotee. It is a step. It is the foundation, yes. It is the step, it is the foundation, but it is not the end. It's just the start of the journey. Right? So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, Mam ekam sharanam vraja. I am the only one. Right? I mean, this is just paraphrase. This is not exactly Prabhupada's translation, but he says, "Mam ekam sharanam vraja." Right? Surrender unto me. So, what do I surrender to? Vraja. What is vraja? I don't know what is vraja. Do I know what is vraja from reading Bhagavad Gita? No. I know I have to take sharanagati, sharanam. I know I have to take sharanagati in vraja, in the bhav of, in the mood of Vrindavan, whatever way you put it. Sharanagati in Vrindavan. I know that, right? Then what? I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Do I know about it from Bhagavad Gita? Does Krishna answer that in Bhagavad Gita? Not exactly. Not exactly, he doesn't, right? Doesn't really give us beautiful imageries of Bhagavad Gita, what do you call it? Raja and his dham, right? So for that, we have to now graduate to Srimad Bhagavatam. So Bhagavad Gita is like the philosophy. Bhagavatam is where we realize that this is not just plain philosophy. There is substance to it. Right? There is substance to it. There are pastimes behind it. There are stories behind it. You get it? There are stories behind it. There are pastimes behind it. There is substance behind it. There is a background to it. You agree, Sardar Prabhu? That is what we get in Srimad Bhagavatam, where of course you have everything. You have everything in Srimad Bhagavatam. You have different pastimes of the Lord. Of course, you don't have Jagannath Katha in the Lord. Jagannath Katha comes in Skanda Purana, not in Bhagavata Purana. Right? And Bhagavatam also, slowly and slowly it graduates up. Right? But it's all about Krishna and his beautiful pastimes. In many ways, many forms, it is inspiring us how and why we should be taking the Sharanagati. What is the benefit of that Sharanagati? What is Gajendra Moksha? It tells about Sharanagati, right? Benefits of Sharanagati. Right? That is what Gajendra Moksha is. The benefit of surrender. What is Prahlad Maharaj's story? Other than the fact that it is a real pastime, what is it? If we consider it just a story, even then it's a story of what? How the Lord is so benevolent and protective towards people who are completely surrendered. Benefit of Sharanagati, right? Dhruva Maharaj's story, benefit of Sharanagati, right? This is how it comes all the time. Benefit of Sharanagati. Right? So, Srimad Bhagavatam's pastimes are helping us absorb that mood. Whatever Bhagavad Gita is teaching us, we need Srimad Bhagavatam's help to be able to internalize that philosophy. That is the purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam. That is why we need to study Srimad Bhagavatam. See, there is an argument which says that is it necessary for a devotee to know Bhagavad Gita, to know Srimad Bhagavatam, to read so many texts by our 7 Goswamis? Okay, I'm not saying 6 Goswamis, 7 Goswamis, including Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Okay, do we really need to do that? Is it necessary to become a devotee? And the answer is plain and simple: no, it is not necessary. It's a fact. Shocking, but fact. You can know 0 lines of philosophy and still be the most devout of Vaishnava. Why? Because pastimes of great Vaishnavas have shown that if you are completely and wholly surrendered to your Guru's instruction, that is enough. So if your Guru is telling you, go and wash pots of the Lord every day, don't ask questions, you do that for every single day of your life without fail, you are a Vaishnava who will go back home, back to God, without reading Srimad Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? So it is possible. Okay. Of course, then there are layers to it. That when you serve with so much of Sharanagati, philosophical realizations actually come into your heart. Divya Gyan Hridaya Prakashito. It naturally manifests into your heart. So then there are explanations of these. I mean, these are natural progressions in a devotee's devotional life. So I'm keeping that aside, but plain and simple, is it possible to be a devotee with 0 lines of education and literacy? Yes, answer is yes, it is possible. Okay. But it again comes down to Sharanagati. Now, why am I harping on this fact of Sharanagati, meditation, Sharanagati? Because Sharanagati is about controlling the mind, which is the most difficult thing to do. And so, when you have to control our mind, what do I need to do? We cannot be sitting like a yogi and emptying our mind, like I said so many times today. You cannot have an empty mind. So, if you cannot have an empty mind, you have to have a full mind. So, what do you fill up your mind with? What do you fill up your mind with? You fill up your mind with beautiful pastimes of the Lord. So let's do an exercise, dear devotees, right now. Let us all just close our eyes and let us read the English translation. I mean, I will read the English translation. You paint a picture in your mind of what I am reading out. Okay. So in his childhood, the Almighty Lord. So imagine little Krishna, small little boy with blackish blue hair, right? Surrounded by cowherd boys and calves. So little boys in open fields, green, lush green open field, little boys playing around, there are cows around him. There are other little boys around him. Okay? All of them more beautiful than the other. Let's imagine this. And what is he doing? He is traveling around the shore of Yamuna River. So he's walking again along the shore of Yamuna River, right? Those of you who have been in Vrindavan, you might as well imagine that you're walking, you're doing parikrama from ISKCON Vrindavan to Keshighat, right? You're crossing Imlitala. So imagine the beautiful shore of Yamuna River, these little boys with their calves, they're walking. And then there are gardens all around. Gardens of what? Densely covered forests, trees. And in that forest, beautiful birds are singing around, chirping birds all around. So imagine this in your mind. Such a beautiful and a peaceful experience, isn't it? Isn't that a beautiful and a peaceful experience? Right? See, you are in Africa. You know how Kenya runs its economy, right? By international tourism, showcasing their national parks, right? You can live in tents, multi-million dollar resorts, right? $10,000 per night. I've seen that. In Kenya, I don't know the name of the forest. You can live in luxurious tents, and you'll wake up to the roar of a lion or the trumpet of an elephant, huh, in the middle of nowhere, but with all five-star facilities. So this is what people are selling even now, right? This is plain corporate marketing. That's how things are happening. Srimad Bhagavatam is saying the same thing. Srimad Bhagavatam is saying just chant, think about me, you will come to this place. You don't have to spend $10,000 per night. Right? And you can be there eternally. There you can be there only for 22 hours. Generally in a hotel check-in system, it's a 22-hour system, not 24 hours. Okay? I mean, that's in India. I don't know about Kenya, but anyways. So you check in at 12 in the afternoon, you check out at 10 in the morning next day. $10,000 gone. Imagine how many books can be printed and distributed for $10,000. Right, Sadhya Pro? Here Krishna is saying, or rather Bhagavatam is saying, that you just chant. You close your eyes. Krishna is here. You imagine this, you chant, and then one day you go back home, back to Godhead, where you will be getting these ultra luxurious facilities eternally, where you don't have to worry about being chucked out after 24 hours or whatever number of days you have paid, right? Nobody can stay that for eternity, right? No one can stay in that kind of an accommodation for eternity. Right? So we are so stupid, huh? We jivas are so stupid. We have the best of the facilities at our throwaway. We have the best of the human beings with us. We have the best of the people with us. We have the best of the facilities with us. But we don't want to take advantage of it. We only see the negatives out of it. We only see somebody fighting superficially or somebody hurting somebody, or the negative parts of it. We only see that. And then we start giving judgment. Oh, I don't want to be with them. I don't want to be there. Forget that, friends. Krishna consciousness has given us access into such beautiful pastimes of the Lord. Krishna consciousness has given us access to know the fact that if I leave my life in Vrindavan, perhaps I will not come back into this material world. Would I know that? if I was not in Krishna consciousness? Would you know that, Sahadev Prabhu? If you were not in Krishna consciousness, you wouldn't. I wouldn't, you wouldn't. None of us would. It's Krishna's mercy that this simple line of text has come in front of us. Of course, there is mercy of the Lord is ahaituki apratihata kripa. Unmotivated, unintentional love and mercy of Guru and Gauranga, of our spiritual master, of the Lord. And then we have our Sukritis, previous birth Sukritis, due to which we are here today. So all of that is there, I agree. But keeping everything aside, the plain simple fact is we are fortunate. Are we not? We are fortunate. We are fortunate that we know somebody is taking the pain to tell this to us. Right? Srila Prabhupada is taking up so much of pain so that we are aware of this very simple, basic purpose of our life. Right? Yet, we are so stupid. We are such fools. And in Srila Prabhupada's language, we are rascals. Right? Even after understanding so many things, we don't understand. Like I was saying before I started the class, that all our shastras are in the form of question and answer, and one of the important question and answer series in our Vedic shastras is the series of questions that the Yakshas had asked King Yudhishthira. It's called the Yaksha Prashna. Okay? There's a whole pastime of how the Pandavas were killed and Yudhishthir Maharaj had to go through a question answer session. If he can answer the right questions, he can get his brothers back. And so there's a huge pastime to it. I'll not get into it right now over here. But there's this episode, okay, where Yakshas are also like Rakshasas are a kind of jiva. Yakshas are another kind of magical, creative jivas. So the king of Yakshas had asked him questions. And in that question, all the basic question he had asked is, what is the most astonishing thing in the world? What is the most astonishing thing in the world? Okay. So King Yudhishthira said, the most astonishing or surprising, whichever way you put it. I mean, it's not, because he did not ask in English, right? So I don't have the English word. Anyways, he asked in Sanskrit. I hope so. So, what is the most surprising thing or astonishing thing in the world? And you know what Maharaj Yudhishthira gave? The response was, every one of us, we know for a fact that our death is the only certainty in our life. Our death is the only certainty in our life. We know we are going to die. Is there anyone over here who will say that, no, I will not die? We all know we are going to die. But somehow, when we are working in our day-to-day life, we think that it is not going to come to us or come to me. That's the most surprising part. Every human being knows that death is the most certain thing in their life. But they are never ready for death. Because they think that death is never going to come to me. Agreed? So this is the reason why we are so ungrateful towards Srila Prabhupada. Because even when we as devotees, we plan things, we plan ourselves to do this service, do that service, build big temples, do huge collections, do big preaching programs. We do all of these things. But how many of us really plan for our death? Do we really plan for our death? Do we? We don't. We never chant thinking this might be my last round. At least I haven't. I don't know about others. Maybe many of you are exalted enough to be thinking like that. In that case, please bless me that I can think like that. But the fact is, we don't chant our rounds thinking that this might be my last round. We don't live this life with gratefulness, thinking that Srila Prabhupada, thank you, this is my last life. I'll just finish my work here and I'll come back to you. Tell me how to go back to you. Do we think like that? We don't think like that. Next week is my Guru Maharaj's Vyasa Puja, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Guru Maharaj. This is Vyasa Puja, 17th of September. You see his life. You see his death. Such a glorious death. He knew that he had to serve Srila Prabhupada. So it did not matter to him. He got on a plane, went to US, met the devotees, speak with them, tell them what he had to say, give them the instructions that he had to give. And when Srila Prabhupada came to take him, he happily went back. Because he knew death will come to me today or tomorrow. I just need to serve my Guru. He was not trying to run away to save himself. Of course, then there are arguments that, this was not right way of doing, that is not right, this is how it should do it, that is how it should be. We can always have arguments. We can always use our limited mental capabilities to explain transcendental actions or incidents. We'll always try to do that because that is our arrogance. Ahamkara vimuratma karta aham iti manyate. It is our false ego that will tell us to always argue. We can argue. And when we argue, what happens? We just forget to see the essence. The essence is that it is teaching us how to live. Right? So, dear devotees, I think it is very important that when we are chanting, we should use verses like these to fill our mind with beautiful thoughts so that we can increasingly convince ourselves, train ourselves to slowly and slowly go there one day, accustom ourselves to go there. Right? When we want to go visit, travel somewhere, when we want to travel internationally, when we are going for a vacation, we study about it, right? We study about the place, how we are going to spend those 5-6 days in that place. We do all that. Don't we do that? We definitely do that. And here, we are supposed to be going to Vraja and spending eternity over there. And we are not reading. For a 10-day vacation, we absorb our minds. 2 months or 3 months in advance, we are only thinking about that vacation. We do that, right? We do complete manan. complete meditation into that. We do that, no? But here we don't do that. Where we are going to spend our eternity, we cannot even think about it for one lifetime. We have lived millions of lifetimes. One lifetime we need to think about it. Absorb ourselves in that thought. Read more and more about it. Put our minds in it. Associate with devotees, associate with people who are going to that place. Right? When we go on a vacation, we find people who have been to that country or that place and asking, hey, what happened there? How was the experience there? We do this, don't we? But here we don't do that. Right? That is our stupidity. That is our foolishness, which actually translates into not being grateful to Srila Prabhupada. So, devotees, I'm almost at the end of my time. So I will leave you with the note that this verse is one of those verses, amongst others, other verses in this series, in this chapter 27, 28, 29, 25, 26. All these verses talk about beautiful pastimes of the Lord. Let us read these verses, internalize them, think about them, draw beautiful pictures, paint pictures of these verses in our mind, and absorb ourselves completely in them, so that when the time comes, we can absorb our thoughts in these beautiful thoughts, absorb ourselves in these beautiful thoughts, and we can finally go back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Aradhya Bhagavan Prabhu. Very beautiful, heart-touching Krishna Katha. Dear devotees, please, if anyone may have questions, realizations, comments, you may want to ask or share, please indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to ask your question or share your realizations.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Thakur Murari.
Just accept my own obeisances as goes to Srila Prabhupada and assemble devotees.
Yeah.
So thank you, Prabhu, for his presentation. As usual, we are fortunate in the sense that others all over the world are doing other things, and we are using our time wisely to listen to Krishna Katha. And I like the idea of you reminding us that if we are going on vacation, that we tend to meditate on we are going. So yes, we should spend some time before chanting to get ourselves in the right mood. To so we want to go to Goloka Vrindavan or someone a person, Lord Krishna. Yes, I like the idea. So we should meditate on there are many verses. And so thank you for that suggestion, Krishna, and inspiration. So thanks again for the presentation. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Murari Prabhu, because I was also very much touched by that statement, which is a very clear analysis. I have one very good friend who loves to go on vacation quite a lot. And this friend of mine shares with me the plans they have to make before going. And they think and plan the vacation, the trip. But most of us, we are not planning. We are not even thinking of, oh, we want to go to this place. How are we going to go? And we want to get in touch with somebody who has been there before to let us know how to get there and things like that. But we have such people amongst us. So this brings about the fact that lots of us are actually stupid and foolish because we have everything available to us, yet we are not taking a good advantage of them. It's sad. But Prabhuji, my question is, you said so many things that hit home so much to me because some of the things you said I've also been questioning, and that is, of course, we know Sri Prabhupada himself encouraged and established this system that devotees will study the scriptures and will be given certification if they pass. But it seems to me, I may be wrong, but I'm asking this for an answer which may be a correction to my question or assertion, that it seems that we dwell too much on knowledge and not so much about action. Like you were saying that can one become a devotee without knowing all the slokas of head from the Bhagavad Gita? And the answer is yes, because just reading the books themselves will not make us devotee. It is what we do, like you said, is the preliminary. It's helping us. We all know that we need to study the books. But if the system were the way it is today, I do not think we could have had Gaur Kishore Das Babaji as a guru. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji was an illiterate, but Bhaktisiddhanta, very highly educated individual, was ready to commit suicide if he did not have the blessings of Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. So my question is, what do we do to make sure that, even though it is a fact that book knowledge is also helpful, but we do not concentrate all our attention focus on just book knowledge. There are many devotees who are wonderful devotees, but maybe because of language barrier or just the shame or the shy of speaking in public, they may not be able to do so, and therefore they may not be recognized as sannyasis. In ISKCON today, criteria for becoming a sannyasi, I haven't read anywhere where they talk about personal habit. It's all about book, 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 book. What do you think we need to do? I'm too much concerned.
I'll tell you a joke. you know, so now you have Chat GPT, right? You have
Yes,
Meta AI.
yes.
You have all these kinds of AI, right? Go into AI, and I know people who have gone in there and they've asked, how do I become a GBC of ISKCON? How do I become a temple president of ISKCON? And ChatGPT will give you answers like go to the nearest ISKCON center, take initiation, say all these things, join their service, take association, all these things they'll say. It will not talk about devotion. It will not say to, increase your Sharanagati. It's not about devotion. So, see, ISKCON as an organization, it is an organization. Let's acknowledge it. It is an organization. ISKCON does not represent bhakti in its totality. ISKCON is an organized structure which is meant to give a categorical understanding of bhakti. Right? For example, a school is an organized institution that gives you knowledge. Right? But that school does not in entirety represent the whole knowledge. Right? So ISKCON is also an organization. Now you can argue, not you, I mean, we always can argue that, you know, this is where Srila Prabhupada is given his life here. Srila Prabhupada has said that this is his body, and so we can always argue. It is okay. For me, it is okay to even take that argument. The reason I say it is okay to take that argument, because I believe that if somebody, even if is not interested in devotion, he's only interested in being the politics of ISKCON, just because he's serving ISKCON, if Srila Prabhupada is happy, then maybe after 1 lakh lifetimes he'll go back to Godhead. Right? Because one thing we cannot deny, that Srila Prabhupada said that, I mean, his heart and soul was behind making this particular organization a successful one. So if somebody does not want to serve, I mean, is not interested in bhakti, but is interested in serving ISKCON, or serving themselves by serving in ISKCON, something better than nothing. Yeah. So it's something better than nothing. So it's okay. Coming to the fact that, why does ISKCON as an organization, in its sannyas categories and this and that, see, the whole idea is that there has to be some benchmarking. And ISKCON is not a perfect organization. I think the beauty of our organization lies in the fact that we recognize the fact that we are not perfect and we want to improve. We're always finding ways of improving ourselves. As long as that sincerity is there, everything else is okay. The problem is when, certain officers come up with certain attitudes which is against this principle, then that is a problem. And in my experience, I have seen that such officers with such attitudes do not exist forever. So it's okay. We have to recognize that we are all human beings. Even our Guru Maharajas, they represent Guru Tattva, but they are human beings. For example, I was speaking with somebody, I'm in Mayapur right now, so I was speaking with somebody in Mayapur. He's one of the very senior managers in Mayapur. So we were just having a chat, that he was saying that, everybody a lot of people in Mayapur community, they just come and sit in the Bhagavatam class every day. These people sitting in the Bhagavatam class, it's not that by hearing this Bhagavatam their lives are getting perfected. That's not like that. Definitely not. But they are basically opening for themselves an opportunity of perfection. Something, some way will hit them in their heart. Some connection, a special mercy connection will happen and things will open up. So it's just going more into that opportunity. It is not that every day you sit in Bhagavatam class and you come out as a new human being, more pure. It's not like that. Just that you're pushing yourself into that space of opportunity for purification. Right? So you're saying that the person who is speaking and the person who is listening both need to have the right attitude. The person who is listening, he has to accept the fact that this person sitting on the Vyasasana, while he is speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, this is actually Krishna speaking to me through him. That person is not speaking to me. So if I'm listening to someone's Bhagavatam and I'm thinking in my mind, this person, yesterday he did such and such things. When he comes down from Vyasasana, I will show him. If you're thinking like that, we will not get the advantage of such Shravana, because my mind is not in the right attitude. Similarly, when the speaker is sitting on the Vyasasana and he's thinking, oh, I'm such a great speaker. Look at how many times Shradev Prabhu has smiled at my jokes. look at how Madhavan Prabhu was engrossed in my lecture. So that means I'm such a wonderful speaker. If I'm thinking, oh, am I the best speaker on Hare Krishna Africa channel? If I am thinking like this, then it will not work. My attitude should be what? That Krishna has given me an opportunity to read about him. To be very honest, this verse, I have read it so many years back. In my normal course of day, I would not open Srimad Bhagavatam and read this verse. Would I? I wouldn't. That's a fact. I mean, I'm not scared about being honest, so I can speak bluntly. It's a fact. I would not open and read it. 99.9% of us will not do it. It's only because Shraddha Prabhu has sent me that message that Prabhu, you have to give a class. And I'm like, oh, I have to give that class. So I went and I read that. I heard 2-3 lectures. I read that verse. So by doing that, Krishna gave me an opportunity, or Krishna gave me a push through Sahadev Prabhu to hear a little bit more, to read a little bit more. And in the process, maybe some little purification is happening. I can only pray that something is happening. So if a speaker is not having an attitude of surrender, an attitude of gratefulness, then that lecture will not work. Right?
Right. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I like to hear the devotees speak, but I've been sharing this with one senior God brother, and of course he's my senior, he's my mentor, but he always says that one of the problems we have is that we sometimes speak in such a way that people cannot relate to what is being preached in our day-to-day lives. But what we shared with us is something I believe every one of us can relate to in our own lives. So we thank you so much for doing that. We all can relate to it and try to do better. We're all aspiring. Thank you so much. Madhavan Prabhu, please give me unmute.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. All glories unto your lotus feet, all praise to Shri Prabhupada. All glory to the assembly of the devotees. Thank you very much. We are very pleased to have you on this platform. And I really benefited so much about what you showed us today. There's a particular point I want to speak upon, and which also could be related to the type of question that Saturday Prabhu asked. There's a statement, it says, reading only makes us a journey. It's just a means, not the end itself. So that takes my mind to Bhagavad Gita 9:2. The chapter is titled The Most Confidential Knowledge. In that text 2, Krishna he said that this knowledge is the king of education and is the most secret of all secrets. It's the purest knowledge because it gives direct perception of itself by realization. It is perfection of religion. Okay, thank you very much, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Prabhu. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets, is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of itself by realization. It is the perfection of religion, it is everlasting, and it is joyfully performed. So where I'm going is that having had the knowledge, then one has to practicalize this knowledge.
Sorry?
One has to practicalize. Having gotten the knowledge, it has to be practicalized.
Sadhya Prabhu, can you
the-
translate what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'll repeat what he's saying. His mic is a little unclear, but I'll repeat where you missed it. Go ahead, Madhava Prabhu.
Okay. So this knowledge has to be practicalized, because if you don't practicalize knowledge, there's no way you can get realization. If I tell you something, you practicalize it, then you realize it. Then you become fixed in the knowledge. So coming back to this argument, the question of certification, getting certificate, one can be a very good scholar, or you can be very good in memorizing. Some have a very retentive memory to memorize, but that doesn't make you a good devotee, because theoretically you are very good, but practically it's almost zero. So if we base that criteria only on academic scholarship or certification, we might be making some mistakes and even putting wrong people in the administrative positions. So that's just my take, and I want your opinion about it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Madhava Prabhu. So, Aradhya Bhagavan Prabhu, his mic was cutting off a little bit. So, but in effect, what he is saying is just adding it to the question I asked and the answer you gave. So he quoted Bhagavad Gita 9:2, that this knowledge needs to be practicalized. It needs to be experienced. Someone being told to do something, if you are being told to do something and you do not do it, you don't expect to receive the fruits of what you've been told to do. So his concern and seeking your opinion is that it is a fact that if someone is being told to do something but does not do it and just memorizing what is being asked to do or study, then how is such a person going to benefit from the knowledge he has actually acquired? So it's both comment and question, because if you do not practice it, you're not going to have the experience, which is the realization of what you are being told.
If you remember one thing, if you notice one thing, even in ISKCON's format of working, we have something that is the most irritating experience for most of us. You know what is that? Getting recommendation letters for everything we do. Is it not?
Mm-hmm.
We always get irritated about it. Do we not?
Yeah, getting recommendation, yes.
Yes. Whether it is an initiation or starting a course or doing something, we need a recommendation letter, right?
Yeah.
And we are always, even I get irritated sometimes. We all get irritated at some point, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know why this recommendation letter is actually there? I'm not saying that ISKCON thought it through so well. I'm just saying that in the Vaishnava process, ISKCON basically took a Vaishnava process and tried to recreate it somewhere, which translated somewhere in to the English format of recommendation letter. But where did the process start? process actually starts from the fact that anything we do in our bhakti life has to be done with Guru Agya, order of the Guru. So if my Guru says go and cut trees, you go and cut trees. If my Guru says go and study, you study. For example, when what is the name of this youngest Goswami? Rup Nagunath's nephew.
Giver.
Jiva.
Yeah.
Jiva Goswami, I mean Anupam Goswami's son, Jiva Goswami,
Yes.
when he first came to Vrindavan to be with his uncle, Rupa Goswami, what did Rupa Goswami do? He sent him to Benares, Kashi, to study for 12 years, get all the knowledge, and then asked him to come back to Vrindavan. Then when Jiva Goswami came back to Vrindavan, and then after a few days there was this quarrel between between Rupa Goswami and Ballavacharya. There was a discussion, a Shastra discussion between Ballavacharya and where Ballavacharya, being Ballavacharya, he did not spare Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What will he spare Rupa Goswami? Ballavacharya remained Ballavacharya. And Jeev Goswami saw that. In front of Rupa Goswami, Jeev Goswami could not say anything. So after Rupa Goswami went away, Jeev Goswami went to Ballavacharya, and you know what he did? He cut him right, left, and center. And then Ballavacharya became humble. And then Ballavacharya came back to Rupa Goswami and said, no, I am sorry, you were right. Rupa Goswami understood what happened because he did not correct Ballavacharya. He understood what happened, where it came from. So what did he do? Instead of praising Jiva Goswami, you know what he did? He called Jiva Goswami and he reprimanded him. That this mood of a Jnani will not work in Vrindavan. If you have to be in Vrindavan, you have to have the mood of surrender. You may have thousands of knowledge, but it will not work. So, only knowledge does not work. Our devotional life is at stake the moment we try to act independently. We don't like this, Prabhu. And you are putting this on YouTube. Some people might take only this part and they might share and say, look at Aradhya Bhagavan Das, another person from India saying all wrong things. And they can share this on Facebook. But the fact is, Sharanagati and surrender is the most important fact in Krishna consciousness or in our devotional life. Let's not time box it into ISKCON, Gauriya, Vaishnavism, this, that. In our devotional life, Sharanagati is the most important thing. Without Guru's order, without Sharanagati, it will not work. People can argue in their minds that, this Guru is that person is that, this is that is that. You can do that for eternity. But you cannot break the fact that complete surrender to your spiritual master is the most important thing in your devotional life. This is one truth statement that you cannot break. I, as a disciple of Bhakti Charu Swami Guru Maharaj, if I say that, for me, my devotional life is completely dependent on how much I am surrendered to the teachings of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Guru Maharaj, that is true for me. For somebody else, it may not be true. Somebody else may argue, Sahadev Prabhu, what arguments can come up when names come, right? But the baseline of the fact that any human being's devotional life is completely directly proportional to the surrender he has towards his spiritual master. This is an axiomatic truth which cannot be broken. Okay. Our problem is that we want to do this, we want to do that, and we don't even care whether our Guru agrees with that or not. So if our Guru is asking us to cut vegetables, but we want to be Bhagavatam speakers, so we fight with our guru and say, no, make me a preacher, don't make me a cook. So that is where the imperfection comes. Does that answer you, Madhuvan? Prabhu?
Okay, Prabhu.
Yes. One more thing, if that doesn't answer you, there is one more thing I'll tell you. Please read Chaitanya Chaitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 9, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Sri Rangam. Okay? That should answer your question.
Madhya Leela chapter 9.
Chapter 9.
Okay.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Sri Rangam. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Anyone else with something to ask or share? It's getting late for Prabhuji in India. Prabhuji, we can't thank you now for
Hare Krishna.
being with us. Shri Govinda Prabhu, please, you may go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much. My respectful obeisances to you and my obeisances to the devotees. Prabhu, my question is about Yamaraj's question to Yudhishthira Maharaj about the amazing thing in the
It's not
world.
exactly amazing. Amazing is a very positive word. It was most
amazing.
Surprising, astonishing, like that.
Yeah. So, you see, it is said in the Gita, there are 4 miseries. And this misery is birth, death, old age, and disease, that no one can avoid it. Yes. And so, birth is one, death is one, old age is one, and
Disease.
Birth, death, old age, and disease.
Disease.
And all these things to me is a mystery. It's a mystery because nobody think of he being going to take birth again or going to enter into woman's womb. Nobody ever, in life, nobody thinks about that. And no one thinks about the fact that he's going to get sick. But the sickness comes anyway. And no one think of old age. Even though the old age will come, but nobody thinks about it. And for death, nobody thinks he's going to die. People are dying around us, but everybody thinks, in actuality, nobody thinks that he's not going to die. But we don't know when that death is going to take place. If people think that they are not going to die, then why are they making wills? Why are they planning for their children? Why are they putting things in place? So everybody thinks he's going to die. So I'm kind of questioning why Yamaraj is singling out death, but not the rest of the three.
First of all, it was not Yamaraj. It was another creature called the king called Yaksha. Okay, it's another category of jivas. Like we are humans, there is a category of jivas called the Yakshas. So it was not Yamaraj to start with. It was the king of the Yakshas. Okay.
Well, that's what I know, and I've been told this for long ago.
No, it's not.
That when the Pandavas were going to try to drink the water, and then Yamaraj appears and starts to ask them questions.
Yaksha. Yamaraj. Yaksha. Anyways, let's not get into details of this. To answer your question, why death was taken up as a thing, let me put it this way. See, the explanation that comes is that we plan for the future. Okay, we all plan for the future, but we never believe the fact that we are really going to die. We don't plan for our own death. We plan for our children's future. We plan for our name living long beyond our death. We think of those kinds of things. But we as a jiva do not ever think of what is death. The essence of this question is what? These yaksha prashna is also spiritual questions. No, these are not material questions. The essence of this is what? The essence is that to take the spiritual knowledge. Right? So that spiritual knowledge we don't focus on ever. You get my point? Where am I going to go? Those 4 or 5, what are those questions? Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Who am I? Where have I come from? What am I doing here? These are questions regarding our very existence. So death is also a question that in a circular motion answers those questions too. Right? Because death is what gives a new birth. Without death, we would not have a new birth, right? I'll not be in this body and I'll not be taking birth somewhere else. It's not going to happen. So death, singularly, is the point of culmination of one full life. And the spiritual significance of death, none of us are ever ready or preparing for it. We don't. Right?
Okay, Prabhu, thank you very much. You see, I asked this question because when one is enlightened, then he begins to think like we are thinking. The unenlightened people who don't have knowledge, just like animals, all they know is to eat, sleep, mate, and defend.
Yes.
And a jiva, they have this amazing body as a human form. But if all he is thinking is eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, then he is no different from that of an animal.
Yes, he is.
And so is the amazing thing is the one who has been enlightened and not changing his habits of thinking, not changing his habit of action, and not changing his habit of culture is what is amazing. Because after enlightening, then one begins to think, why am I here? Because animals will not ask themselves, why am I here? Why am I in this body? Why am I in this forest? Why am I in this jungle? Why am I in this ocean? Animal will not think like that. And so if a human being does not think like that, is that amazing? Because he's not enlightened. He doesn't know. So how do you call that as an amazing thing or astonishing? He doesn't know.
The fact that human beings don't think about the Brahma Jigyasa questions, that is amazing in itself. But what is most amazing is human beings know he's seeing death all around him. His parents are dying, his brother is dying, his sister is dying, his grandmothers are dying, his friends are dying eventually. But even in that old age, old men, they still want to enjoy. They don't want to prepare themselves for death.
Yeah, Prabhu, animals are being killed. The brothers and friends have been killed, and then the animal will still be eaten. Doesn't care.
No, but
and so a human being who is not enlightened, people are down around him, but because he's not enlightened, it's okay, it's all right. And he keeps his daily activities. It doesn't make difference.
Yes, you are right. You are right. I agree with you on this, that because there is lack of knowledge, so he's acting like an animal, so he's behaving like an animal, so that is normal. That you are right. But what is surprising over here is, in the Indian context, I mean, if I take Yudhishthir Maharaj's timings, okay, everybody used to go to Gurukul. Their schooling system was the Gurukula system. It's not that only 5 people went to Gurukula. We send our children to school. They also send their children to school. And back in those days in school, they used to study all these Shastras only. They did not only study Artha Shastra or Nyaya Shastra. They studied all formats of Shastras. Right? So, for us today, these Sanskrit tests may be more difficult. I mean, even being in an Indian body, studying in Indian education system also, access to the Sanskrit text is very difficult. But in those days, it was not like that. Even 100 years ago, or what 100 years, maybe 2 generations or 1 generation back, even in India, people used to study Sanskrit in their school as a regular subject. So 2 generations back, they were studying a little bit more. Like this, thousands of generations back, they were studying all these things, all these Bhakti Shastri that we read. Not Nectar of Devotion, obviously, that's just 500-year-old. But most of the, like 500 years ago when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a teacher in Navadvipa, he was teaching different Shastras. So knowledge was there. Because that knowledge was not there is not the thing. The problem is people lived an animalistic kind of a life. That is why people are not asking these questions. And the more Kali Yuga progressed, the ability to think analytically, focusing on your self-pleasures have gone up. Analytical thinking has gone down. Because people were not thinking analytically, I mean, because people thought they knew Shastras, they knew how to bypass Shastras, that is why they started indiscriminately eating meat, which is why Lord Buddha had to come and reject the Shastras. Lord Buddha came and rejected the Shastras and established ahimsa, non-violence. And when everything was again back to normal about 1000 years later, Shankaracharya came, Shiva came as Shankaracharya and re-established the Vedas first. He did not establish Bhagavatam, he did not establish Bhakti. He established Vedas first. And after Shankaracharya established Vedas, and then again a culture of Vedic culture was slowly proliferated in the society, then Ramanujacharya came and gave Bhakti. That to Ramanujacharya gave Bhakti till Vaikuntha, not till Goloka. Ramanujacharya was worshipping 400 Vishnu. After Ramanujacharya came our Madhvacharya, then Vishnu Swami, Hamsa Bhagwan basically, Rudra Sampradaya, who started slowly and slowly worshipping Krishna, two-handed Krishna. So Madhvacharya's deity was the two-handed butter Krishna, butter thief Krishna. Right. So what you are saying is true, but that is very, very contextual to our times now. During Yudhishthira Maharaj's time, most people had access to this knowledge. But because what you said is right, that people were living an animalistic life. No? They were using their acumen to drive themselves towards an animalistic life. That is why Lord Gautam Buddha came and threw that away. So yeah, it is amazing, but it is not the most amazing thing.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Govinda Prabhu, for your question. And dear devotees, we thank you all for your participation and engagement in Shri Krishna Katha, as beautifully shared by His Grace, Aradhya Bhagavan Prabhu. And it's quite late this time, so I think we may bring this to a close. But Aradhya Prabhu, we just want to let you know that Srila Prabhupada is so gracious, so kind and merciful. He created he gave birth to so many sons and daughters, so that in case we lose our own father, we still will have uncles and aunties to take care of us. I lost my dad. When I lost my dad, your dad was there for me. And before he left us, I see one devotee's hand up. This devotee is my god sister, is a disciple of Bhaktivinoda Swami Maharaj. But she is so much in love with His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj. And there is no doubt that these wonderful sons of Srila Prabhupada are very happy to see their sons bonding together and serving together. So we pray that this loving relationship amongst us, between us, will go on forever and ever.
Haribo.
Yes, we thank you so much. His Holiness Bhaktacharya Swami Maharaj, he touched the hearts of so many of us, especially disciples of Bhaktivinoda Swami Maharaj. He took us all under his shelter. And I was with him in DC few months before he left us. So when it happened, it was very difficult. We just learned that devotees do not generally talk about the disappearance of the Supreme Lord and the pure devotees. And there is a reason, because the pain is too much. So we thank you for being a brother. We thank you for being a cousin. We thank you for being who you are. And Narayani, if you have a very brief something to share, because we're going to end, but you may unmute and speak. Narayani Devi.
Sure.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Hare Krishna to dear devotee. My question to thank you so much for the wonderful class anyway. But my question that is bothering me that I wanted to ask you, because you were talking about something, that's why I want to ask you particularly this question. I want to know when Krishna was born, Devaki and Vasudeva. I want to know that is that time that all the devotees realized two hands Krishna?
Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
She is asking whether before Krishna appeared as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki, whether devotees knew that Krishna had two arms, because she is thinking that before then it appears like the way people understood Krishna was Narayan. So she's asking before the advent of Krishna as the son of Vasudeva Devaki, did the devotees know that Krishna has two arms, two arm form?
When Krishna came, that's when devotees realized that we have Vrindavan in the spiritual world. I want to know that. Do you know? Do you have any idea about that?
I'll give you one small example to answer this. Okay. Lord Ram, when he was coming back from Lanka to Ayodhya, Mother Sita, he was bringing back Mother Sita to Ayodhya, after the whole war with Ravana and 14 years and all that. Mother Sita wanted to drink water. She was feeling thirsty. Okay? So Lord Ram's Vimana, it was an airplane, landed in somewhere near Jagannath Puri. Okay? A little bit of north of Jagannath Puri. Okay? And Lord Ram used his arrows to create a pond, okay, called the Shaptashar. Because 7 auspicious rivers water he had annexed to that place, and water from 7 rivers appeared there mystically. All right, that place is still there now. I was there in August with my congregation. If you guys come to India, I can take you there.
Chai.
So Lord Ram sat over there, and when Mother Sita was drinking water and she was resting in the tree shades, Lord Ram looked at that place and he smiled, he smirked. And then Mother Sita, like an inquisitive wife, asked him, why are you smiling? Why are you smiling? Wives. Sorry, Mataji, please don't take it personally. Just a joke. In her inquisition, you know, she was like, why are you smiling? Which Mataji have you seen that you are smiling? There is no Mataji here. What are you thinking and smiling? Tell me, tell me. So Lord Ram told her that I am going to come, that in this place a great devotee is going to come, a Krishna temple is going to come up. You know? The Krishna temple is the form in which I will be taking the next avatara. Like this, he told her. So then Mother Sita insisted that show me a photo of that. Show me a painting of that, or a photo of that, or a form of that. Okay. Lord Ram could have immediately changed his form. He is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? He could have shown Vishwarupa to Sita Devi. And Mother Sita is also Mother Sita. Right?
Yes.
That form could have initiated in her heart as well. But only for the pleasure of the devotees and the knowledge of the devotees. You know what Lord Ram did? He took a black stone, he took his arrow, and he carved out on that stone a form of two-handed Krishna. And in that form, you will find on top there are those jamrul trees. Then there are demigods on top in that black stone. From the clouds, there are demigods. Krishna is in the center. Then there are small, small cows and gopas at the bottom. Okay. There are small gopis at the bottom. So that form is the Gopinath form. And this Gopinath, after thousands of years, not thousand actually, after a few manvantars, not manvantar, after two yugas, this Gopinath did a lila with Madhvacharya, Madhavendra Puri. He stole the kheer, the sweet curd of Madhavendra Puri. You know Kheer Chora Gopinath? In Ramuna, you've heard of Kheer Chora Gopinath? The Gopinath deity who stole the sweetened curd, sweetened kheer for his devotee. This is that very deity that Ram had created. So Ram created it much before the Yuga even started. So the knowledge was there. It's not that the knowledge was not there, but the knowledge was naturally not something which was publicly manifested in people's heart, and it's not like photographs were being sold and people were worshipping Krishna at their house on their altar. It was not exactly like that. But yeah, the knowledge was definitely there.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank
Narayani
you. I
Devi,
really
thank you.
appreciate that.
Narayani Devi, thank you so much for the question, because if you had not asked this question, this nectar would not have come out. But this month of Aradhya Bhagavan Prabhu. Prabhu, thank you so much.
To get this nectar, I am inviting all of you who will hear this podcast and who are here right now. Make a plan, call up Sahadev Prabhu. Make a plan, come to India as a yatra. I will take you to these small, small places. See, you all go to Jagannath Puri. It is unfortunate that you're not allowed to enter the sanctum of Puri.
Yeah.
You come to Mayapur, you go to Vrindavan, but then there are very small, small places with esoteric pastimes. And they're still untouched beauties. They're not concrete jungles as yet.
Yeah.
So come
Well,
over,
thank you
spend
so
time in
much. Thank you so much for the kind offer. But we hope that even before we come to India, for you to take us around these wonderful places.
Very good.
We can also arrange for you to share, because to some of you who may not know, Prabhuji is very much specialized in more or less like anthropology of Sri Krishna and his pastimes. He's very much in depth about such knowledge. And so maybe someday we may be able to have him come and share some of these experiences and realizations with us all. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for being there for us all. And with that being said, we're going to humbly request all the devotees to kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our dearest appreciation to our revered speaker, His Grace Aradhya Bhagavan Prabhu. Jai.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Chakar Vatarubhyascha Kripasan Pacha Titanam Pavanavebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai.
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 Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.